You know that business plans are important and that failing to plan is planning to fail, but doing a business plan is boring. And are they even that effective? And aren't they outdated the minute you press print anyways? And do people ever go back and actually read them? Well, a little known secret in the business community is that the real value of the business plan isn't in the plan itself, but in the exercise of working through the questions in order to uncover real, tangible, and profitable opportunities that you can leverage, as well as avoiding costly and dangerous pitfalls. And that's why in this episode, I'm going to be sharing with you and walking you step by step through the exact document that I use personally with any business that I invest in, with my teams, with my agencies, with everything that I run on a day-to-day basis. So you can go through the steps and get the same clarity and the same results. All right, let's get to it. Hey there, my name is Adam Erhart, marketing strategist, and welcome to the Marketing Show. All right, because you're here now, you understand the importance of having a proper plan in place. Maybe you've done a little bit of searching on a business plan, maybe you're required to create one for a new job or a new business. Whatever the case, I'm gonna walk you through the exact business plan, the one-page process that I use with all of my teams, with all of my businesses, in order for us to get better clarity and make sure that we're taking off on the right foot. A business plan does not need to be overly complicated. In fact, it shouldn't be, because the worst thing you can do is spend days or weeks or even months putting together the perfect business plan, because you know it's going to be outdated the minute you press print, and things are going to change, you're going to need to evolve, and you're going to need to adapt. That's why I'm a huge fan of the one-page business plan that I've created for my businesses. Something we work through all the time, whether it's once a month or even once a quarter. We're constantly reviewing it, we're constantly going back and making sure that we're on the right track. So with all that said, let's dive into the document right now. And if you haven't already, I'm going to put a link right here where you can go and download your free copy of the one-page business plan so you can follow it along, or of course, you can watch the video now, download it after, and work through it at your own pace. Whatever the case, it all starts with business opportunity. Now, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to establish why we're even doing this business in the first place. Because one of the biggest mistakes you can make in your entrepreneurial or business career is doing a business that really has no need, or trying to sell something that people just don't want. That's why the very first step here is identifying the business concept, what it is, who it's for, and how you help. These things sound so unbelievably obvious. I totally appreciate that, but it's important to be really clear and really articulate all of the answers to these questions, because you want to make sure that the business you're building actually serves a real market and solves a real problem and really handles a need that the market is experiencing. Another important note, and the next part of the plan, is to address the current situation. Essentially, take a look at things like the economy and the market, maybe what else is going on in the world, and really make sure that this is the best business to be starting right now. That's why one of my favorite questions here, and one of my prompts, is why are we doing this now? After all, there's likely competitors, at least there should be, because that indicates market demand. So why are you trying to enter a crowded marketplace? Or what is the reason behind this? Or why do you think that you're going to be successful? It's not even that you need to have the best answer in the world. You just have to think about it, and you have to make sure that you're accountable to the answers that you put forward. Basically, you have to be accountable to yourself. You have to be able to answer why you're doing this business now. All right, moving right along to the mission and vision parts of the business plan. Now, mission statements and vision statements and all of those things, they get kind of a bad rap, and rightfully so. After all, they're normally fluffy and airy and kind of shallow. What I do not want you to do here is say something like, we seek to provide better service, or we're gonna change the world, or anything like that. Rather, I want you to be practical and tangible and really concrete in describing what you're doing, why you're doing it, and everything behind it. When it comes to your mission statement, this is an external statement, meaning that it's going to be visible to people outside of your business. So you're going to want to avoid putting really confidential information or revenue numbers or anything that's going to make you look kind of sleazy. You can, however, put your business objectives and the strategy by which you plan on achieving it to provide some clarity for anyone who's interested in your business. Your vision statement, on the other hand, well, this is your big goals and your big dreams and the internal message that is really just for people inside of the company, and maybe even just for people in the upper levels of the company. Though it's my opinion that pretty much everybody should be a part of the vision statement so they can understand it and make sure that you're all working towards the same objectives. Don't be afraid to put numbers here, don't be afraid to put targets, and don't be afraid to put what you're truly working towards. If you've got a strong enough why, then the how becomes that much easier. All right, let's keep moving right along to the next part of the document, which is all about the market. Now, As a marketer, this is what I believe is probably one of the most important elements of the entire one-page business plan, because without customers, you don't have a business, just a really expensive hobby. This is why you want to be very crystal clear on who it is that you're trying to serve and really break down that ideal customer avatar, that ideal target market that you're going after. And the way I want to suggest you do that is in a number of different ways. For starters, be clear about their demographic details. These are the stereotypical things that people think about when they're talking about an ideal target market that include things like age, gender, income, occupation, title, things like that. Next, you've got their geographic details. This is what city they live in, or state, or province, or country, or maybe if you're a small local business, maybe even what neighborhood or what street. From there, you want to move on to their psychographic details, and this is where things really get interesting, because this is all the head stuff, and their attitudes, and their beliefs, and their organizations, and affiliations, and everything that kind of goes on upstairs. But it doesn't stop there. I want you to take it even a step further and look at two things that I call their miracles and their miseries. Their miracles are their dreams and their desires and their goals and everything that they really want to achieve and everything that they really want to have that ideally your business is positioned to offer to them. Their miseries, on the other hand, are all their fears and their frustrations and their pains and all of the nightmares that they're trying to move away from that, again, your business is ideally positioned to help them move away from. All right, let's keep moving to the next part of the one-page business plan, which is all about the solution. Now, the solution is broken up into a few different parts, starting with the USP, or unique selling proposition. This essentially is what your business offers and how you do it differently and better than any of your competitors. You really want to be able to answer the question of what makes you different, what makes you better, and why somebody would choose you over your competitors. Now, diving into the weeds of a USP, or unique selling proposition, is a bit beyond the scope of this video, but what I really want you to consider is where is the market demand? Where's the need that they've expressed, and where does your business uniquely fit in a strength or an area of differentiation that you're able to solve that for them? And where those two things overlap, the market need and your unique strengths, well, that's where you find your USP. Next up, we have pricing, and this is an incredibly important topic because if you don't charge, then you won't be in business and you can't help anybody. Pricing is also an incredibly detailed subject, so spend a bit of time here and really decide what you're going to charge and try to figure out what a good range is. You're obviously going to have to take a look at competitors and what they're charging and see how you can add more or less value if you want to charge more or less. Keep in mind that pricing is incredibly subjective, so there's a lot that goes into it about how you position and how you market and all of the elements that go into your business that make it look more valuable or less valuable. Which leads me perfectly to the next part, which is a positioning map. Now, what you can see here is that we're gonna map out quality versus cost, and it's a bit of a spectrum, so you get to decide whether you wanna go for high quality, high cost, or low quality, low cost, neither of which is right or wrong, but they are gonna require very different strategies. There are also some areas that you really want to avoid, like high cost, low quality, because then nobody's gonna buy it, or they're certainly not gonna buy twice, or high quality, low cost, because that sounds great in theory, but you're not gonna be making enough money to reinvest into the business and provide that high quality. All right, so now that you've got that covered, the next thing is to take a really high-level overview at the 4 different pillars of business, just to make sure that you've got an understanding or you're at least addressing any issues or any concerns or any areas of problems or opportunities that could arise in the future in the 4 main areas of business. The first of which is the marketing aspect. This is all about how you're going to go out there and attract more customers. A big thing here is really identifying not only who that ideal target market is, but where they're active and present so that you can focus your efforts there and avoid all of the places that your market isn't active or present. Again, that sounds obvious, but I call that the marketing wasteland. Essentially all of the different channels and networks and areas where your target market is not active and not present, and yet so many people waste so much time there. So don't do that. Once marketing's complete, time to move on to sales. This is all about how you're going to sell and how you're going to onboard new customers and essentially your entire sales process. Important here to spend a bit of time and think through these things. After that, you've got operations. This is the day-to-day operation of your business. Could include things like customer service and human resource management and the delivery of your product and all of the other areas that go into it. Obviously, there's a lot more here than we have room for in a one-page business plan, but it's important to be aware of them and to at least consider them. The 4th pillar, of course, is accounting. This is all about cash. How are you going to collect money, how you're going to pay expenses, and how you're going to keep your books straight so when it comes to tax time, you don't end up in a heap of trouble. Alright, the next piece of the puzzle is to really dial in your marketing, which is why you're going to want to check out the video right here on Introduction to Marketing. So check that out now, and I'll see you in the next episode. As I fell in love with marketing years ago when I first got interested in figuring out why people buy and act the way they do, and later how to influence and